It looks like our world leaders are having a lapse in their mental abilities. I've always said I don't mind if someone acts dumb, but not on my dime. Our leaders are all over my dime and yours too. I remember the Bay of Pigs in Cuba and the Soviet Union placing nuclear missiles in Castroland. I was in 6th grade and I remember being one scared little student. Today things are just as serious, possibly more so. Your kids may feel a very heavy weight in their stomachs because of events. And it isn't because of eating too much boxed macaroni and cheese. Let's see if we can help ease their worries. I think this deserves a talk about. Hello, anyone. I'm Scott Bain. They call me the old farmer. Back in the late 1950s, schools being built looked strange. You may be able to see such a construction in some of the schools in your school district. The buildings had areas where there were very thick walls and sharp right angles. There was a method to their madness. It was to protect the students from radiation exposure if a nuclear bomb was exploded nearby. It was not designed to take a direct hit, but to reduce radiation exposure. If I remember correctly, the area usually fortified was the gym areas, and they had about a 3-hour rating. Today, schools are not built this way anymore, and neither are our homes. So if it looks like things are going to hell in Michigan and Handbag, South Dakota, there are some things we can do at home. And if parents demonstrate to their kids that if things go bad, procedures are in place to protect the family, it just may ease their concerns. Many YouTube channels are saying build a bunker. Yes, of course, that would be a good idea. If you have a place to build a bunker and the financial resources to do so, that's what the rich people are doing. What about the rest of us? What can we do to protect ourselves and our families? The common response is use sandbags filled with sand, or possibly powdered cheese from those boxes of macaroni and cheese. That cheese just might protect us even if our sun went nova. I don't think it's going to happen this week, but it's just an example. The general amount of sandbags is about 6 feet between the outside world and the inside of your little cubbyhole. Just build it in the basement and you should be fine. If you look at my basement, Mrs. Old Farmer, Maggie the farm dog, and I would have to be laying flat to fulfill the 6-foot requirement. A sandbag fort in the basement may work in them thar rich folks' homes, but for the rest of us, there is just not room to do so. Besides, the sand will get everywhere. So let's do some thinking and see if something else may work. Water would be a good substitute for sand. If we buy some of those totes, those things that you see for downspouts for gathering rainwater, and used in the garden, they should do a pretty good job. If you get food-grade totes, you could store a whole lot of drinking water. A 6-foot thick wall of water will be as good, possibly better even, than sandbags. And your mouth won't feel like having your teeth cleaned at the dentist for the next several months. As I said, sand will get everywhere. But I still don't have enough basement to build a radiation fort. What can I do? Wikipedia says the cubic foot is an imperial and U.S. customary unit of volume, used in the United States and the United Kingdom. It is defined as the volume of a cube with sides of 1 foot in length. Its volume is 28.3168, and at 60 degrees Fahrenheit, a cubic foot of water weighs 62.37 pounds. A cubic liter of water, depending on when you live, not where, is a kilogram of pure water at 4 degrees centigrade and at standard pressure. And for those elected officials, a kilogram is 2.204623 pounds. Don't forget to watch your decimal places. I'll be sticking to imperial measurements for the rest of this video. Let's be honest, the more shielding, the better. In fact, if you could dig yourself under a swimming pool without drowning, you would have yourself a pretty good bunker. If you can't do 6 feet of sand or water, then do the best you can. If a nuclear war happens and a nuclear bomb went off in Nome, Alaska, and you live in Tampa, Florida, a box of Kleenex should be ample enough for shielding. It may actually be easier using water for a shield than sand, if you plan ahead. So if we are planning on 6 cubic feet of water to protect us, then we have to remember the weight. That's 374.22 pounds for a cubic foot of water, but 6 of them in a row. And if we calculate it in metric numbers, it's still heavy. Well, it is. If we could build this in the basement, all is well with the weight. But if you don't have the room, then maybe we build it on the floor, but above the basement, the next floor up. Maybe it's a living room or a den. That means weight is a concern. You can build the walls in the basement and have the entrance be at a right angle or left angle, whichever way you prefer, but make sure you have that right angle in place. Then you don't need a door. I would build a wall up to the ceiling in the basement, and if need be, use juice packs to fill in the rest. So let's say we want an area that's 10 feet by 10 feet, with an entrance that's at a right angle, remember that, and that entrance should maybe be 2.5 feet wide. Make sure that you do the opening in a way that the radiation can't come in at an angle. The outer wall should be long enough to block the opening from radiation leaking in. We will leave out all the heavy math and keep it simple for this example. A 10 by 10 foot fort or bunker is 100 square feet. Remember, we want at least 6 feet of barrier. So for our example, a 1 cubic foot of water is almost 63 pounds, but we want it to be 6 feet thick. So that will come out to be about 347.22 pounds times 100. And that's 37,422 pounds plus whatever else we need to do it. We're just figuring the inside doodad there. But to put a good feeling to that number, that's almost 19 tons. And when you add in the adjustments for this and that, it could be 20 tons or more of weight on the floor. Just do the math and figure it out what you need. Obviously, there will be a need to be a generous amount of floor jacks used in the basement. Conversationally, it's 40 pounds per square foot that the floor can carry. Check on what your local code says and follow that as a minimum. I think I would brace it for 20 pounds per square foot. With that much water overhead, I would not enjoy the floor creaking while I had my family underneath it. You may want to talk to a contractor to figure out how much bracing you should have for your floor. Whatever you use, totes, sandbags, elected officials, as your barrier against radiation, there are many more considerations to be made. Bathroom facilities and food should be ample. If the totes are food grade, the water will be safe to drink. Food that is in a container is safe to eat. A crank radio will give you information. Although the way radio is today, any information offered may be worthless. Generally speaking, think of a 3-week stay. Some books might be a good idea, and playing cards too. I won't go through all the list of things that you should have. But if you want to use water as your barrier, figure out the number of totes you need, add a few more to be safe, and start planning on how everything should come together. How many totes do you want to use in the basement for the walls? Are you planning on more than your family in your bunker? You may have company, or neighbors may try to hoard in. A strong defense may be in order, and the willingness to use it to protect your family. Obviously, don't talk to anyone other than those you are inviting into your man cave. Yes, this can be a man cave until it's needed. Not a bad idea. You may store the above-ground totes outside filled with water. If so, follow the guidelines on how to keep algae from growing in your totes. Have a pump and 1 or 2 extra totes. Brace the floor first and then bring in an empty tote. Pump the water from a full tote into the empty tote inside. Now move the empty tote inside and fill that one from a tote with water from the outside. You do this one at a time. It will just be too heavy to move a tote filled with water, so make sure you have a pump to transfer water. Just think how long it would take from a well or a city water supply. People hire a fire department to fill a new swimming pool. Do some tests to see how long things will take with your setup and using your pump. If things do turn into a nuclear war, being prepared is your best defense. One last suggestion. Put a picture of your national leader on the wall in your bunker with plenty of wood behind the picture. In your supplies, I would recommend a set of darts for entertainment.
Before we go, thank you to our subscribers who helped us reach over the 1,000 subscription mark. It's very humbling to receive the support from our subscribers. Thank you. I will always try to give you accurate information, and I'm not worried if you disagree in comments. Just remember, youngsters may read your words. Well, this is the old farmer Scott Bain saying, be well, be safe, and be kind to someone today.
Don't forget to click like, subscribe, share, or ring the bell buttons on the Original Old Farmer channel. We enjoy reading the comments that you leave, and they do help the channel, so keep them coming. And once again, thank you for watching The Original Old Farmer.
The VFW National Home for Children, providing families of veterans and active duty military opportunities for growth and development in a nurturing community. Please consider a donation to help their children and families. I.C. Rhodes speaking.